Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to our Vergil Ortiz versus Michael McKinson post-fight live show. Listen, this fight was an absolute banger. This was exciting, but very one-sided. Very one-sided. More one-sided than I thought this fight was going to be. My prediction, which I apologize, I didn't get to put it on the channel in the form of a video, but I did put it on a post, was, and I quote, and I put it out there 8 hours ago. I said, Ortiz gets a TKO win over McKinson late. I think McKinson is tough and will make this a difficult fight, but he's the B-side, and the referee will stop it as soon as he sees him in trouble, even if he's not in trouble. So what I thought would happen, I mean, even though I got it right? I think it was round number 10 or round number 9 where they stopped the fight. I'm going to tell you guys now. I think it was round number 10 or round number 9 where they stopped the fight. The guy was in trouble. The guy was in trouble. It was... Give me a second here. Jeez. Can't even find it. Just watch it. I can't remember what round this thing ended. I want to say 9 or 10. But the guy was in trouble. Luckily it didn't get to the point where, there was any controversy, because even though I predicted the outcome, I did think that McKinson was going to make this a tougher fight. And I say that because I thought McKinson was a very defensively sound, defensively responsible guy. I thought he was a great judge of distance. I'd seen him fight before. And, I thought he would make this a really good fight. And he did at times. But, I was leaning towards, again, it was a late stoppage. I was leaning towards McKinson having a lot more success and maybe even, winning or splitting the rounds and perhaps getting stopped as soon as he got in a little bit of trouble. Because, we're in Texas. Vergil Ortiz is from Texas. It's, Golden Boy Promotions, Golden Child at this point, right? They don't have much going on besides him and Ryan Garcia. And I thought to myself, if this happens, right? If this ends, it's going to end, if it's not, right on the money, it's going to end controversially. And luckily it didn't have to go there. Ortiz, what I'll say about Ortiz in this fight was he was just absolutely, destructive. I mean, he just walked McKinson down. McKinson couldn't do anything against this guy. It was kind of crazy. And it was a TKO in the 9th round. So I did predict a TKO. And it was off one punch. It was off one punch in the 9th round. That being said, in the previous round, Ortiz had dropped him twice with body shots. You're not going to recover from hard body shots the way, Ortiz is throwing them. You're not going to recover from hard body shots the way Ortiz is throwing them. And, at the 9th round, he came out. That was in the 8th round. In the 9th round, he came out. He landed a small shot, and Ortiz was, McKinson was basically gone. He was just gone. And he also looked like he hurt his leg, but I don't know if the leg being hurt was a result of him just trying to run away and avoid that finishing body shot, or whether, when he got hit in the left side of his body over and over again, or in the right side rather, that his body just shut down on that side. I mean, it could be a combination of the two. I would imagine he probably hurt his leg just running around so much, because pretty much, that's the way McKinson fights, right? If you've seen him fight before, he's like trying to keep you at length, and he's a good mover. And he was very defensively responsible at this fight as far as moving, slipping punches, keeping the distance. He felt his only chance, according to what his coach was saying, was, keep Ortiz on the outside. Don't get into a tear-up with him, is what they said. Basically, don't bang it out with him, which is smart, but I just felt like he didn't throw nearly enough punches. I felt like McKinson could have done a lot better in this fight had he just let his hands go. He did not let his hands go in this fight, and there were spurts where he was using his jab or throwing little combos, even if they were just touching Ortiz. I felt like they were making a difference. What I didn't realize until the fight happened was the huge disparity in power, right? And that was a big problem for McKinson. He just couldn't keep Ortiz off of him. But what I thought he could have done was what he was doing, when the 7th round started, which is just touch him with the jab, head, body, and he would do it for a little bit and then he'd shy away from it. And then he wouldn't do anything. I mean, as he continued to kind of shuffle around and use his footwork and try to gauge the distance and stay away from Ortiz's big shots on the inside, he forgot to throw punches. And I think ultimately that was the beginning of that was what, ruined his chances of, being in this fight, making this a more competitive fight. I do think had he thrown a lot more punches, a lot more, it would have been a more competitive fight. He did do some good work in there. But this was, make no mistake, utter domination from Vergil Ortiz. And this McKinson guy, he's not an easy guy. I've seen him fight. I've seen him frustrate people. And again, it's why I thought this was going to be a good fight. But Ortiz, man, just too much. Too much. Now, what this fight brings to light for me, cheers, by the way. What this fight brings to light for me is the fact that Vergil Ortiz, right, he's very much a puncher. He's very aggressive. But we saw in the Maurice Hooker fight, he gets hit. And we saw in this fight, he got hit a little bit. But what really stuck out to me in this fight was how many times McKinson was able to step around him. How McKinson was kind of able to negate a lot of what Ortiz was doing with, a little bit of head movement and with interrupting him from setting up, right? It's almost like Ortiz, he'll follow you around, and then soon as you stop, he'll settle in, and that's when he'll start throwing punches. A guy that can move around and flick the jab on the move and fight a little bit on the move is going to give him a lot of problems. McKinson, again, with the footwork, stepped around him several times. A guy with decent footwork and that can box and that's not afraid to let his hands go is going to give Ortiz a lot of problems. And that's why Hooker was able to have a bit of success. And, they're talking about Terrence Crawford after the fight. Listen, I think it would be a great fight. And he's tied up, as Vergil Ortiz says, obviously with his fight against Errol Spence. I think it'd be a great fight, but I don't think he's ready for Terrence Crawford. And that's a tough one because, it's kind of tough because, who's left, right? Who's left for Ortiz to get better against before he faces Terrence Crawford, right? He's going to have to find some good opposition that can really box to continue to build. And there's not going to be too many people that can do what Terrence Crawford can do to get him ready for Terrence Crawford. So it's very interesting. At the same time, he does keep coming. We've seen Terrence Crawford get dropped a couple times in his career. This guy hits super hard. Ortiz hits like a Mack truck, you guys, and he doesn't stop, and I feel like he's gotten better in reserving a little bit of that gas tank, right? I remember a few fights ago, it's almost like he was putting everything into every single punch. And now he's able to just put enough on the punches. And he's just so naturally strong. This kid's just so naturally strong. He's just hurting you, right? Regardless of how much he's putting on the punches. He's hurting you. And he showed that today. And what I loved from the legend in Bernard Hopkins when he stepped into the ring after the fight was you could see him telling Ortiz that, yeah, you just let that punch go to the body. You didn't throw it with all your power. You just let it hit him. You let it touch him, and it was over. And that was Bernard Hopkins's expert boxing mind / way of telling Vergil Ortiz that you're on the right track now. You don't have to put 100% into each punch because you will gas out in a fight if you do that. What you did tonight was you just used good technique and you put a solid punch in there, and it's the punches that they don't see coming that will finish them. And you're strong enough not to put 100% into each punch, and you could still finish the guys if your placement is good, if your technique is good. That's what Bernard Hopkins is saying there after the fight. And Bernard Hopkins, who knows the sport better than Bernard Hopkins? The guy's a legend, and he's right. He's absolutely right. We need to cherish Bernard Hopkins while he's still around. And I've been loving his commentary, not just on this, what he told Vergil Ortiz tonight, but on the whole Jake Paul debacle. I love it. Cheers, by the way, guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But I love the way Bernard Hopkins communicated that. It's so true. I had Coach Derek Collinsworth on here not too long ago. I would say maybe 6 months ago or something like that. I don't know. We were talking about Vergil Ortiz. And, what came to my mind was, he's just putting too much effort into each punch, and he's going to face someone, and he's going to gas himself out by the end of the fight. And he's changed that. And it's also awesome, right? Having a great friend of this show, a great friend of mine, Manny Robles, in his corner, who, as you guys know, we did a series for a while together, me and Manny, where we were talking about the fights, talking about boxing. And then, I had kind of had to discontinue that with Manny because I'm thinking Top Rank might have seen our podcast that we had just started on here. And they said, hey, Manny, why don't you come out and commentate? Obviously, Manny, knows what he's doing. He's a boxing genius. And I was like, Manny, dude, I know you're busy between coaching fighters. I know you're busy between coaching them and your life and commentating. We can sideline this podcast thing maybe to the future. I'm gonna keep it going on my own, but go get that commentating money. And it was very cool to see Manny in the corner of Vergil Ortiz. And I have no doubt that Manny had probably that influence on him as well. Hey, settle down, kid. You don't got to put 1,000,000% into every punch. At least, maybe you guys didn't see that, but that's what I saw. That's what Coach Derek Collinsworth told me he saw, right? And he's a boxing genius. Vergil Ortiz was just putting everything into all his punches. I don't think that was necessary. I think if Vergil Ortiz hitting you with a punch at his 70% is a regular human being's, 130%. So awesome to see him evolve in that way. That being said, I don't know if he has the best footwork. I'll say that. If I'm going to critique him, I don't know if he has the best footwork. We saw this guy step around him several times. He does get a bit leaky defensively when he's trying to tear you up like that. And, but that's a risk, right? If you're going to counter him, then you're leaving yourself open to that horrific power, man. The guy has crazy power. And we saw that today, right? McKinson, on the inside was trying to tie him up. Ortiz came over the top. He's like, to hell with this. I'm fighting in the pocket. You hold me. I'm not as long as he's got his arms loose. If you've only got him with one arm, he can swing. And he did just that. And he hit McKinson on the inside with a hook, and that mouthpiece went flying. And the referee came in and, gave him a little timeout, put the mouthpiece back in. But Ortiz, incredible power, incredible gas tank, settling down a bit now. But I do think, there's a bit of a vulnerability, in the defense. He's still a little leaky on the defense. There's a bit of vulnerability with the footwork, and he does have to settle down before he starts letting them rip. That's what I'm noticing as well, and that's why I said, McKinson could have done a lot more here. As long as he would have popped him with that jab, hit him with the jab and move, I felt like Ortiz would have had to reset every time McKinson did that. I think a person who does that will beat Ortiz at this juncture. Now, I'm sure they're going to go back to the drawing board. He's going to learn. He's going to evolve some more. So who knows? But, if I was the coach, right, of somebody who's going to be fighting Vergil Ortiz, I would tell them, hey, stick him with that jab hard, go up and down, head body, and then get the hell out the way and keep moving. Keep moving. Stick him with the jab, keep moving. Opportunity presents itself, 1, 2, move. 1, move. Soon as he settles, move. Soon as he gets settled, pop him with the jab. That's how you got to beat this guy. You can't just stand in. I'll say this: nobody can just stand in front of Vergil Ortiz. No way. No way. Before I continue, if anything you want to say about the fight, anything you guys want to ask me, drop it in the chat. Also, we got FightersRep 15 coming on September 3rd. Not a card you guys are going to want to miss. I'm telling you, we got 20-plus fights. Card is subject to change, of course, but 20-plus fights at the Commerce Casino with some of the best young strikers you've ever seen in your life. Help me build this kickboxing promotion. Get your tickets at FightersRep.com or just join the channel if you can't make it. It's just $9.99 a month. You help me build this channel and this forum for these young fighters to compete. And also, we get together after every big fight. We go live. We also drop content almost on the daily. So your support is greatly appreciated. You could also get your merchandise below if you want to support the channel. By the way, cheers. And again, subscribe, join, like, share. Oh, that's some good stuff. Vergil Ortiz, man. Vergil Ortiz. Guy's a problem. Guy's a problem. If you stand in his way, you're going to get steamrolled. Kid's just going to run right through you like a hot knife through butter, bro. Do not stand in front of this kid. But a boxer like Terrence Crawford will have some success. Maybe a big, strong welterweight like Errol Spence Jr. could take the heat, right? Big, durable, strong guy like Errol Spence Jr. could take the heat, could give it back to him. But I think if both of them just stand in front of each other and exchange blows, I'm going to lean towards Ortiz, man. I'm going to lean towards Ortiz. And he's only 24 years old. He doesn't even really have his man strength yet. What's going to happen when this young man gets his man strength? The game's going to be in a whole lot of trouble when that happens. Whole lot of trouble because, again, he's still a baby, 24 years old. By the way, guys, 24 years old, 19 fights, 19 wins, 19 knockouts. Let me say that again. I mean, for those in the back that didn't hear it, this guy just turned 24 in March, right? 19 fights, 19 wins, 19 knockouts. This kid is an absolute problem. Solid little amateur pedigree as well. Won a couple medals in the U.S. National Pal Championships. Won the Silver Gloves, 3 gold medals, won a silver in the Golden Gloves. Did good. And a knockout to win percentage of 100% in the pro game tells you that you're in for a hell of a night if you fight this guy. And I cannot wait. To see what happens with his career. So that's pretty much, those are my thoughts, guys, on Vergil Ortiz. I mean, if you're watching this on the replay, drop it in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this kid. Let's see here. Southside Boxing. Shout out, says Michael didn't have enough pop to stop him coming on him. I think Michael did okay. I'm from the UK. I know people that know Michael. He hasn't boxed anyone at Victor's level before, so he did okay. I thought Southside Boxing, I actually thought he was going to do better. I think it was, I don't want to be mistaken here. I think it was Chris Congo that he fought. Yes, it was Chris Congo that he fought. I felt like that was a fight that a lot of people thought he was going to lose. He won that fight. It was a close fight. He won that fight, but I thought, he had a great judge of distance. He was very defensively responsible, he fights very conservative. Ortiz just didn't let him. Ortiz just didn't let him. And there's not a lot of guys, to be fair to McKinson, there's not a lot of guys that are at Victor's level, right? Victor's at the top, along with, Spence and Crawford at this point. I would put them slightly ahead of him, but that's pretty much it. It's Spence and Crawford, Ortiz, and then the rest. McKinson gave a good accounting of himself. I just think had he thrown more punches, had he utilized his jab more, Southside Boxing, it would have been, I think it would have been different. I really felt like he had a lot of the tools necessary to make this a tough fight. And that's why I made the prediction I did. But he just did not throw any punches. I mean, I don't know, how are you going to win the fight? And, it's easy to say that sitting in front of your camera on YouTube, right? It's easy to say, why didn't he throw any more punches, with these vicious bombs coming back at you? It's easy to talk, right? But he ended up getting stopped anyway. At least give yourself the best opportunity to win. Again, I felt like if he would have jabbed a lot more, thrown some combinations. I saw at times, he would throw like a little quick 3-punch combination, get the hell out the way. That would, it would cause Ortiz to reset. And he didn't hit hard enough to really stop Ortiz, but he did land some pretty clean shots, that were slightly effective. And, he just didn't throw enough punches, just didn't throw enough punches. And just got stopped because that Ortiz, man, he didn't have any respect. He just kept coming forward. No punches were being thrown at him. And it wasn't just about power, really. I mean, besides the power disparity, yeah, he wasn't hitting him with anything. You gotta at least try to hit the guy. You gotta at least try to hit the guy. There were times where McKinson was just going around the ring. And I was like, dude, throw a punch. Just throw a stiff jab to the body, slow him down, throw a punch to the head, do something. But he just wasn't, it wasn't happening. You know what I mean? Staggerly Goods in the house. What's up, my brother? He says, I think Ortiz looked good because McKinson is an awkward fighter, very much so. But yes, he needs to polish his defense game a little bit. You see, and that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing from Ortiz. I feel like sometimes when he lets it rip, he gets hit in between those combinations. He gets hit in transitions. He gets hit when he resets a little bit. He does have to settle down, I think, to throw off, to let off punches. I think he's got to learn how to fight in a couple different styles, I guess you could say, if he wants to beat the guys at the top, right? A guy like Terrence Crawford is a chameleon, man. He can fight you lefty, fight you orthodox. He can bang, he can box. You're going to have to be multifaceted to beat these guys. And all I'm seeing from Ortiz is come forward. I come forward. I settle down and I just throw a barrage of punches. You know what I mean? But he's great. He's great to watch. He's entertaining. He's super. His hands are fast. You could tell he's throwing with a lot of power in those hands, and he's tough. I mean, he's got a good chin too. We haven't really seen him hurt or rocked or anything like that. I agree, and he couldn't do what he wanted to because Victor wouldn't let him. Like they say, there are levels to this game. There are levels to this game. Sorry, man, Vergil, it's late over here. LOL, forgive me, Vergil. Yeah, well, Victor, Vergil. Yeah, I feel you. I made that mistake too. But yeah, Vergil Ortiz. By the way, I think Virgil's the man. I've followed him from the start. He is the man. He's very good. He's very good. But at the same time, to be the man, like Ric Flair said, right? To be the man, you got to beat the man. And the man for me right now is Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford is the other man. They're going to fight each other. We're going to find out who the man is. And then Vergil Ortiz is going to have to beat that guy to be the man. But I hear what you're saying. He is the man in his own right. A beast. Just a beast, dude. Just comes forward like a buzzsaw, man. But again, that's just not how do I say it, complete enough, right? It's not complete enough, in my opinion, to rule the welterweight division, to just be a come forward, aggressive, sort of brawler puncher like that. You're gonna need to be multifaceted. You're gonna need to be able to finesse when you have to finesse, brawl when you gotta brawl, play the defense when you play the defense. Otherwise, you've just got a puncher's chance against a guy like a Terrence Crawford, who's just like I said, he's a chameleon in there. The Mean Machine clipped him good in the fourth, so he is a bit vulnerable. Well, it's like Floyd Mayweather says, if you swim, you're gonna get wet. If you box, you're gonna get hit. And we've seen Crawford, also hurt when he fought Gamboa, back when Gamboa was still pretty good. I don't know if you guys remember that. But, what did he do afterwards? He's also grown, right? Physically. He's bigger. He's acclimated now to the welterweight division. He's strong. He's fast. He's got a mean streak. He's technical. He can fight from both sides, orthodox and southpaw. He's got great offense. He's got solid defense, Yeah, he's been clipped, Anybody can get clipped, but he dominated that fight after that. I told them not to take that fight. I said Michael would get hurt, but they didn't listen. Also, so them and you told them not to. Well, I think it was a great opportunity for Michael. I mean, look, no fighter in Michael McKinson's position was going to say no to that fight. You know what I mean? Because it's a contender fight. I mean, if he would have won that fight today, right? If he would have thrown more punches, and won that fight today, his life would be different. I mean, imagine everybody would be talking upset. It would be crazy. And it wasn't outside of the realm of possibility that he could have won this fight today. I mean, listen, he got stopped in the 9th round, by a few body shots, but he kind of brought it on himself. He didn't throw any punches. Now, again, was he worried about what was coming back? It seems so. It seems so. He ultimately got stopped, but I just think he's going to go back. He's going to watch this, and he's going to say to himself, man, I could have hit this guy a lot more, and not let him settle in, to the point where he let off 3-4 punch combinations that hurt me bad. I think that's what he's going to say as he looks back on this. And it's going to be a good experience. I mean, he could say he got in there with Vergil Ortiz. He gave him a good run. It wasn't the toughest fight of Ortiz's career. It's the longest he's had as far as a fight goes, right? 9 rounds. But it wasn't the toughest fight of his career. I think the Maurice Hooker fight was probably the toughest fight of his career. The future fight would be Boots Ennis versus Ortiz. That would be nuts. Boots versus Ortiz. Spence versus Crawford. Winners fight each other. Losers fight each other. 4-man tournament. I love it. Let's do it, Stagger Lee Goods. Hey, guys, if you haven't already, again, subscribe to the channel, join, drop, show some love, drop a super chat, drop a super thanks if you're watching this afterwards. We're going to be continuing to talk boxing live after the fights, after all the big fights. And we're also going to be, just dropping content on the daily. And of course, we're going to be putting on our own fights. Again, September 3rd, FightersRep 15. You're crazy if you miss it. Southside Boxing says Stagger Lee Goods. Yes, don't put him in there with Bud yet. He's not ready. I agree with that. Knuckleheads, tell me what you think. Drop it in the comments section. I've been on here a half hour. We've had some decent conversations so far. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Excuse me, but I'm headed out. I will be dropping content pretty much all week, so stay tuned. We'll have some great interviews and stuff with the fighters that are going to be competing at FightersRep 15. I don't know if you guys caught the press conferences, especially the one between Granado and Jackson. Those kids really, really dislike each other. I think that's going to be a fantastic bout. Join us, FightersRep.com. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll talk to you guys soon, man. Appreciate you guys.